Yeah, good morning, everyone. Again, yesterday we have seen about how we can, instantiate driver for running our mobile automation test, whether be it, in your local or your, any of the cloud providers, right? So again, we have almost completed it. Okay, so we don't have to touch this for, for any reasons anymore. So there is only one thing that is pending. Okay, one of them is, we are hard coding the mode here. Let's say in my driver class, what I'm telling, the mode is local. Okay, I'm hard coding this value here. Instead, I want to get this value from, let's say, a property file, right? Where people have, been given the option to choose where they want to run the test, right? So yeah, let's try to understand and write some code to read a property file and use it in the code. So that's our next task. Okay, good. So for that, right, I need to read a property file. So first we'll prepare the property file. Maybe I'll go here. I'll create one more folder. I cannot put it this, inside a APK file. So let me create one more folder. Okay. So creating folders are, very good way of organizing things, right? So let's say config. Okay. And yeah, inside that I'll create a property file. Okay. Let's create a file called maybe project.properties, config.properties. Okay, maybe config.properties, anything. Okay, good. So here you can give all those you know details. So let's say a mode equal to local. Let me give local for here, and whatever thing you could think about, you can add it. Okay, so for now let's keep it just mode. Okay, in your case, or if you want to extend further, you will add more, properties here, right? For now it's a very simple property file. All we are focusing is how we can read this property file effectively and how we can fetch those value from it. Okay, we'll understand all the niche things like static block or try with resources, all those topics. Okay, that's the focus for today. So yeah, now let's, I need to write a code to read read this property file, right? I had to write it somewhere. Can I write it here in the test class? No, I cannot write because it mostly deals with test cases, right? So I cannot write it here. Then where I can write this code? Okay, I have to definitely write it in src main java. In src main java, I just have only one package that indicates, it has the classes related to the driver. Okay, so I cannot even create it there. So what I have to do, I have to create a separate class and package for this. Okay, so let me create a new class file, maybe inside com.tmb testing many bytes dot utils. Inside util folder I can create it, or you can also create any other folder like properties, and then inside properties also you can create. For now I'm creating it inside this. So let's name it as property utils or read property file, whatever the name that you feel most suitable, you can use it. For now I'm using property utils. Good. Again, let's focus on reading the um, reading the configuration properties here. Okay, let me first use properties. Okay, you need properties new properties. Okay, and let me keep it as and now I also want to store this property values in a hash map, because if I keep it in a properties, that would not be the best way to fetch a value from a property file. So it's always recommended to convert to a hash map, so that the same, key value pairs you have here will be stored in a hash map. So hash map is a efficient way of storing things and then retrieving the value from it. So whatever the values that I have in a property file, I'll load them into a hash map, and then I'll use that hash map to fetch the values. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Let's take okay, there is no reason to keep it as public, so let's keep it as private. Okay, uh, let's say a map the string comma string. Okay, key value pair will be string comma string, and let me name it as map new hash map. Okay, I'm using hash map. Okay, hash map. So I'm importing the classes. Okay. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a method that's gonna still public void read property file and load into map. Okay, give some meaningful name. Okay, just if you give just read property file, it should only read the property file. It should not load it into the map. The method name should be very clear what it does. Okay, so let's say properties. Okay, properties equal to properties dot load. So it basically needs a input stream. Okay, you can directly create it, or you can also create it separately. File input stream. Uh, file input stream equal new file input stream. You can pass the path here. Okay, now I can also add load file input stream, right? But both of these will throw, this one will throw file not found exception, this will throw IO exception. Let's do it. Let's try to add method signal. Sorry, I don't want to do that. Let's try to surround with try catch. Okay, and I also want to try I just deleted it without copying it. Let's cut it and paste it here. Okay, so maybe I also want to add one more catch block. Okay, file not found exception. What's happening? Just a minute, guys. Catch. Okay, first one, it will throw file not found. Okay, we give it a C, whatever. And now this will throw me IO exception as well when trying to read that. Okay, so you can do your operation here. For now, let's keep it as a print stack trace. A very simple for good. Good. Now, after reading this, I want to load this into this particular map, right? So for that, okay, this property file has properties dot. Okay, there is something called as entry set. Okay, so basically using this entry set, you can iterate it and then fetch the value from the property file. Okay, so let's wrap it in a for loop. Okay, and let me name it as entry. Again, I hope you all know what is map dot entry. So here basically, if you notice, each of these is you, even though you know these are all string, but it can also be integers. Okay, so basically we don't know all these things, so normally the property file will treat them as object comma object. So the key is also object, this is also object. So if you want to convert them to string, you need to downcast it. Okay, so basically you have to do that operation yourself. So since we have used map as string comma string, you need to basically convert the object class to string class stuff, right? We'll do that. So now entry dot get key will give me the key, right? Entry dot get key, entry dot get key. Okay, this will give me the key. So let me introduce key. So if you notice, it's giving me object. So what I can do, I can convert this into string dot value of, yeah, I'm converting this into string. Okay, so same way, string value equal to string dot value of entry dot get value. Okay, so now I fetch the value from the property file. Now I need to load this into the map. So loading into the map is very simple. Map dot put and the key and the value. Okay, that's it. Good. We have now read the property file, loaded it into the hash map. All good. Okay, there is some problem with this code. Can anyone tell what is the problem with this particular piece of code? Guys, please unmute, and I am expecting some answers from you guys.
File location you are not mentioned.
What is the one?
File location, from which location I should read?
This we will do that. That shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I will do that. What else?
You didn't close the file.
Okay, okay. I didn't close the connection. That's one thing. Yeah. What else? So what I can do, I have try, I have catch. So whatever happens, okay, what I want to do, I want to do a finally. Okay, I want to use a finally, and then I can close the connection. Yeah, I can do that. Okay, that is one thing. Yeah, that is one good observation. What else?
If the property file value is null, the issue will come here.
Okay, what is okay? So you are telling, if someone is giving here null,
If the value is null here, we'll get null pointer exception there.
we'll get. I think we'll get an empty string. Okay, but yeah, okay. What else? What else?
Instead of reading as input stream, we should can we read it as only a file and then fetch the value?
Yeah, that wouldn't make much difference. Yeah, but yeah, but keep it coming. Yeah, there is no wrong and right. But so what I am trying to convey here is, okay, one is when you need to use a finally block if you want to close the connection. Okay, close the connection. Okay, and now we are using try catch. So what happens if the file is not even found here? Okay, so I'm giving some invalid path, I didn't give the path. What happens? Okay, there is a exception. Okay, there is a file not found exception. So the exception will be printed into the stack trace. Okay, what happens next? Okay, it proceeds to the next step. Let's assume it proceeds to the next step and then it's go here. Okay, now this will be null. Okay, because we are doing some operation like here. Okay, property files dot get mode something, we are writing all the code here. Okay, don't worry. So here it will throw null because, okay, it hasn't read properly, or doing all those stuff. Okay, so basically it will not throw the error here. Okay, it will not throw the error here because we have used a try catch block, but it will throw the error here as null pointer. But the actual issue is file not found. So the actual issue is file not found, but what the user sees is, in this case at least he will see the file not found as well as the null pointer. But sometimes people don't even write this code. Okay, they'll keep the catch block as empty. In this case, they will only see null pointer exception. So they will go and try to understand what is happening in the null pointer exception. But the actual issue is this. So that's technically what we call it as fail safe exception handling. Okay, I know you will fail. Okay, but fail, you know I want that to fail safe. Okay, if it is a file not found exception, we want to see a file not found exception. Okay, so that we call it as file not found exception. So that is one thing. Okay, and one more thing is, okay, as finally block, if we write a finally block, okay, let's imagine, let's have a finally block. Okay, you make a file, you write this code, it's trying to read the file not found exceptions happen. So catch block will come, it throws the exception, or sometimes you don't even write this piece of code, then it goes to finally block, it tries to close the exception, the connection itself is not established. Okay, so it, while closing the connection also, it will throw another exception. Okay, now you will only see the finally block exception, correct? So the original file not found will be overridden with the exception during the closing of the connection. So this is something wrong, right? So what we are intended to see at the end of the day is this, not this, right? So that is two things that are tricky. Okay, I can use a finally block, but I need to properly handle it. Okay, so in these cases, what we can do, okay, there is something called as try with resources. Okay, so what the try with resources block tells, okay, if you are handling something related to file input stream, all those stuff. Okay, if those guys are basically, you know I don't know why it is not going inside this file reader. So there will be, see, so if your class file input stream, all those things are at last implementing a closable interface. Okay, if in case it is implementing closable interface, then there is a better way to handle them. Okay, that is like this. And guys, these are all some niche topics, people don't cover all these things. Okay, So what you can do, you can make the connection within the try block itself. Okay, so what I'm telling, inside try, I put this connection, so it will try to make the connection. Since this file input stream is, it is implementing, indirectly implementing auto closable. Okay, auto closable, there is no auto closable. Okay, then, okay, while exiting the try block itself, it will, it will close the connection, so you don't have to close the connection using a final block. That is first advantage. Okay, now I want to throw an error. Okay, I don't want to print the stack trace, continue the exception. Okay, so in that case, I can throw a runtime exception. Correct, you try it, you try to find the error. If there is an error, you catch it, and then you rethrow in the form of runtime exception. Okay, good. So I need to write some code that says throw new runtime exception. Okay, there is a problem in file path. Okay, some valid message you can give, and then it will be thrown. Now the program will be terminated. Okay, here itself, so you will only see this particular exception what you have thrown. Okay, so now we have solved both the problems, but one of the problem is we are using a more generic class of runtime exception. Maybe if Selenium is trying to find an element, okay, will you accept for no such element exception, it throws runtime exception, and then tells maybe some problem with the element. Okay, will you accept that exception? No, we won't accept. You go to a bank. Okay, you are trying to withdraw some money. Okay, it doesn't have enough cash, but it is telling some problem with the cache. Will you accept that error message? No, right? So we need to be very clear with whatever the error message we want to give. So in those cases, you can create your own exception class. Okay, let's see how to do that. So inside this, I am creating another class file. Let's take it as framework exception. Okay, maybe exception dot framework exception. I am creating my custom exception. Okay, okay, inside this, you can, this framework exception can extend your runtime exception. Exception. Okay, and then we'll write this logic here. Okay, we'll do that, but for now we are going to shift our focus back to the property utils. So we have solved all this problem, right? But one thing I could still see is I need to call this method somewhere. Okay, from somewhere. Okay, if I want to read the property file and then load it into the map, I need to call it from somewhere. That is another unnecessary task. Maybe I do it from before suite. Okay, maybe I'll do it from before method, whatever. But the thing is, I need to make an explicit call. If someone is forgetting to do that, it will throw error. So again, where to put this code and how to manage that, again it becomes a little tough task. So all we are interested in static variables and static components, we can load them using static block. Okay, the same stuff. Okay, you don't have to do all your stuff yourself. Okay, copy this whole code. Okay, and then paste it here. Now everything is done. Okay, so now you don't have to explicitly make a call, it will do the call for you and everything is done. Okay, now at the end, what I can do, you can also create one more method, public static string get value. Okay, if somebody passing me a key, I'm gonna return them map dot get whatever the key they are passing, will here, and then we'll return them the value. Okay, good. So now anyone wants to interact with this particular class, they need to only call the get value. They don't have to initialize this or call this method. So now the static block will take care of all these things. Again, you can use a catch and other stuff and throw a new runtime exception. All those things are good, but basically static block is something that executed even before your code starts, when the class fields are actually loaded into the memory. So in those cases, instead of doing all these things, okay, I can simply tell, okay, e dot print stack trace, and then if there is any errors that you see foresee, then you can obviously close the program. So system, so how can I force close the program? System dot exit, and then for a successful termination you can give 0. So this will basically close your program. Okay. Okay, again, if you notice, file not found is a child exception for this. Okay, in both the cases I want to handle the code in a similar way. I am printing the stack trace, I'm terminating the program. Then there is no need to separate them. If you want to provide a different implementation, you can have different catch blocks. In my case, I'm going to have only one catch, same implementation, so I no need this catch block. Okay, that's it, guys. So now the code looks much clean. Okay, everything will happen automatically. Now let's try to use this in our code and then see. Okay, so if we want to get the value from there, okay, I need to first let's say string look more value, something like this. And here I can tell property utils dot get value, pass the string. Okay, what is the string? String is more. Okay, now I'll get the string value. Now from the string value I need to find this enum, right? So we need to convert this into enum. So modes dot, there will be something called as value of, then pass this string value. It will find the equivalent enum for that. Okay, that's it. So now let's see whether the test is running. So for that you can generate your test.xml. I hope you all know how to do that. I have already done that. Let me also go to the property utils, maybe tap test. Okay, I have only this test enabled. Driver, so I have given driver dot driver because driver, let's go. I think I haven't explained this. So yesterday we fetched the value, right? Today I make it as a class level static variable, and then I assign like this, and then if I want to quit I can directly quit it here, driver dot quit. Okay, okay, so now this code will work, right? So whatever the value that we are fetching from the driver factory, I am assigning to some class static variables, and now I am also quitting it. If I want to access this away from my class, I can, since this is a static variable, I can call using driver dot driver, right? That's what I'm doing here. Again, guys, there is something problem with this. We'll try to rectify this, but yeah, this is just an early stage. I hope you all know how to generate the test.xml. You can right click using this create test.ng plugin, you can create it. Okay, let's try to run this test, and let me change the thread count to 1 and run as testing. Okay, sorry guys, I didn't start. Okay, let's see what's happening. See, it's not link file not found. Okay, let's go here and then fix it. I want to get the current working directory first. Okay, so I have a live template for that, and now okay, slash src slash test slash resources slash config dot config. Okay, okay, so we have a path like this till configured properties. Let's try to run it again. No enum constant local. Okay, I think it's of small letters. Okay, let's also try to convert to uppercase. Okay, so let's try to again run it. So I have my emulator, so it's clicked on views. Okay, so the test got passed, so everything is working, right? So whenever you are developing a framework, whenever you develop a little thing, okay, try it out, test it whether it is working, then move ahead. So I see a lot of people creating a whole bunch of things and then they try to run it it breaks everywhere, and then they cannot rectify where the issue is. Okay, so now we are almost done with this property files. So if you notice, the code looks much clean. Okay, we have property files. We are trying to read it using the static block, because we don't have to call it from anywhere. We handle the catch blocks. Again, we can throw the exception, but there won't be anyone to receive the exception at this particular point of time. So we are exiting the program using system.exit 0, right? Good. So yeah, this we have now covered. Now let's focus on the other piece of code that we have. This is this particular piece of code.
Amutan, sorry to interrupt. I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, regarding this properties file only. So this significance little bit I missed out. Can you please summarize it up?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so first you remember the initial piece of code that we wrote,
Yes.
that has okay, try with catch. Let's say you have try catch
Yes.
and
Catch
finally
and
block.
finally.
Okay, in the final block you are closing the code, or you are closing the connection. Okay, first we have created this as a method, right? Method
Yes.
name is read property file, and load it in read prop file, and load in map, some method name like this. We have a method. Okay,
Correct.
this is one of the problem. Third
Correct.
one is invalid exception is displayed to users. Okay,
Okay.
these are the three problems that we are trying to solve. Okay, now try catch and finally. Okay, this is something that is wrong. Why? Because when there is an exception, say file not found, okay, it will throw the file not found. Okay, it'll do some operation in the catch block. In the final block, it'll again try to close the connection. Now while closing the connection at all, let's say it got some exception. Okay, now the user will only see the exception happened in the finally block, not the try block, which is the actual issue. Correct?
Yes. Correct.
So this technically we call it as fail safe. Okay, you are not failing safely. Okay, when you are failing, okay, fail it, but give me the proper error. Okay, you go to ATM, you try to withdraw some money, you are entering incorrect pin, but it is telling, okay, you don't have sufficient balance. Will you accept?
Okay.
You cannot tell
So
I have handled.
it's like root cause is different and you are showing something else.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
So no one will accept, right? You cannot tell
Correct.
my finally block has overridden. Oh, as a user I don't care. You tell me proper error, then only I can fix the issues. Okay, that's what we call it as failure. Again, nobody is following this properly in automation. Okay, take any piece of code, they simply write try catch, they simply throw exception, whatever they feel they'll do it. Okay, they don't know what the impact of exception handling. Okay, if I were in an interview position, if you show me a piece of code, I will only first check your exception handling skills. If you have handled your exception very well, then you are a very good coder. Okay, that's a simple analogy. You take any developers, you take any automation engineer, they will, if they are good, they will only check your exception handling skills. Okay, good. So to avoid that, there is something called as try with resources. Okay, this is the try with resources block. Okay, which means if you are trying to access a resource, okay, and that is implementing closable auto closable interface, then you can add it in the try block itself.
Okay.
Okay, you can declare it in the try block itself. Okay, see, here we are declaring this in the try block itself, so that while it exits the try block, it will close the exception automatically by itself, and it will only throw the error what it initially faces.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so this particular problem is solved now. Okay, try catch finally is also solved.
Okay.
Okay, now I move this code to a static block, because I don't need to call this from anywhere. Let's say you can also do, you can create it a method, you can call it from somewhere, right? In a before seat you can call this, absolutely fine. Okay, but if there is a way which can be called implicitly, why we have to call it explicitly, right? That's why I use the static block. Okay, to load these values into this particular map. Okay, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, while loading this, okay, I also observed I'm trying to do something, catch it something, and then throw a new exception. Okay, throw new runtime exception. But the problem is static block will be executed even before your code starts.
Yes, it is due to it is initialized during class level. So yeah.
So you don't have to throw an exception. No one will be there to receive. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Normally, and no, if I speak about all this thing, it will take hours, but still I'll try to do it. Okay. Only when your program starts, there will be a thread. Okay. There will be a thread that knows some sequence of operation. We call it as thread stack or a call stack. Okay. If there is an exception, okay, if there is an exception in the method, okay, it will be propagated to the call stack. Okay. That's what we are doing. Throws. We are throwing it, right? But in this case, if an exception happens in a static block, there won't be any thread itself.
Okay.
Then who will handle the exception? So there is no reason why we have to throw an exception
Mhm.
when the exception is happening in the static block. Okay.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
why we are safely quitting the program.
Mhm.
That's it.
Okay.
This will actually terminate your JVM and
Mhm.
then terminate the program safely. Okay. This piece of code.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Done. I got it.
So yeah, if you haven't watched my Java Selenium framework playlist, you have to watch it because all these things are covered in detail. Okay. So please do watch them. I know it takes a lot of time, but there are a lot of efforts that went into creating this course. Do watch that. You don't think like Selenium, so you don't have to watch that. Okay, I don't speak Selenium there. I actually speak all these concepts, all these Java intricacies there. Okay, so I never thought about how to click on send keys to an element, all those things in the playlist. Please do watch that. When you get some time. Okay.
YouTube, right? YouTube playlist. Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube only.
Okay.
Okay, there is an exception handling playlist. Go and watch that where I have tried to explain this all these things in detail. Okay, let's move away from this and
Manthan, one question, please.
yeah, please.
Yeah. This you said like we are using static block, so exception will not propagate to other areas.
Mhm.
But even without a static block, anywhere we are using try catch, then exception is not getting propagated, right?
Yeah, it will not get propagated, but you can try catch it and then throw it in another
Manipulate it.
form of exception.
Okay, okay, that's what you are
Okay,
saying.
that's what. See, I am a fan of runtime exception. Okay,
Okay.
if suppose you have to think it wisely. Okay, let's say you are not able to find the property file. Okay,
Yes.
property files are very important. Okay, there is no reason why you have to continue the program. Okay,
Okay. Yes, yes.
if this is not working, stop the program.
Right.
Okay, there is no need to go inside and then okay, tell after that you throw somewhere there. Let's say you go to an ATM. Okay, if the ATM shows okay currently out of service. Okay, if it is out of service, that's very well, right? That's what we need to do, right? Instead what it does, you are going inserting your ATM card, you are doing some operation for 5 minutes. After that it is telling currently ATM is out of service. Will you accept that?
No.
No, right? So throw an exception, terminate the program when there is a need. Okay, only if you think okay this is not a big deal, I want to continue doing the other operation, then you can continue with it. Okay.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Okay,
Got
so good. Okay, um let's go to the tape test now. And now this, if you notice, this is a code driver find element by export click. Okay, it is actually working. But what I see, we are trying to access a static variable, right? Static class level variable. This is not thread safe. Okay, this is not thread safe. Okay, when you are running it, as a single thread, it will obviously work. But when you try to run it in multiple thread environments, it won't work properly. So what happens? Let's say this also I have explained in a thread local video in YouTube channel. But yeah, you can go. Let's say static variables are stored in your heap memory. Okay. So let's say this is your heap. Okay, this driver variable will be here. Okay, so again I will write it right. Driver, this is your driver variable that resides in a heap memory. There are two threads. Let's assume you have one thread here. Okay, one thread here. This is thread 1, thread 2. Okay, this thread 1 creates the instance now. Okay, it tries to launch the app, it tries to click on views. Okay, in the meantime, this thread also comes in. This thread picks the same driver because this is a static variable, right? So this guy also uses the same driver. Okay, they will not have their separate copies. Okay, in case of non-static variables, each thread has its own separate copy of the variable, but in case of static, they use the common one. Okay, so when both of them try to access, right, then whatever the first test case wants to do will be overridden by the second test case, and this thread will come and try to do click on another one and to throw exception. All those stuff will happen. Okay, I have explained this in detail in this thread local video. I'll also share the video at the end of this today, so you can also find it there. But the thing that you need to remember is, okay, when there is a static class level variable, it is not thread safe. Okay, it can be, if it is only read only operation, then you can use multiple threads in for a static variable. Okay, because only we are reading the value from it. Okay, but if we are also writing, in our case, we are trying to click on it, we are trying to get the value, we'll again try to send some keys, we are trying to do a lot of operations, right? Read and write, both operations we are doing. So this is not thread safe. Okay, one guy will tell click on views, another guy will tell click on accessibility. So it doesn't know what to do. It will take the first command, it will do it, other command it will fail it. Okay, so that's the problem here. So to avoid that, we have something called as thread local. Okay, thread local is a class in Java. Okay, which can help you to uh, provide thread safety. There are multiple ways to provide the safety, but providing thread safety in a easiest way can be achieved using thread local. Okay, so we're going to do that. So this particular piece here is not thread safe, so we want to make it as thread safe. For that, we want to use something called as thread local. Okay, let's try to introduce thread local. Okay, someone is messaging. Yeah, this is the YouTube link, you can watch it. But yeah, we'll also try to cover it. Okay, don't worry. So this thread local is also accepting generics. Again, guys, we have already seen about generics. Let's go in here. If you notice, this is the T is your generic. Okay, it can store any variable. Okay, it can store string, it can store integer, it can store WebDriver, it can store employee class, anything. But whatever the T that you are passing, will be returned, whenever you are calling get method, all those stuff. So, okay, it basically common and simple generic. Okay, in my case, I'm going to store a WebDriver reference, right? So I'm just telling WebDriver reference. Let's name it as dr equal to new thread local. Good. Hey Amudan, you are telling something I don't understand. Okay, let's go here and control E. Now let's try to imagine with a simple diagram. Okay, this is also let's assume this is your child care home. Okay, and this is your thread 1, this is your thread 2, thread 1, parent 1, parent 2. So let's say you are a working parent, you want to go to office, both of them are working. So what do? You normally take your child and then leave them in the child care home, and then while coming back you will pick them up, right? So you don't want to pick some other child, or some other parent should not want to pick your child. Okay, so the child care home take the responsibility of safeguarding your child. The same way here, the child care home is your thread local. This you can imagine like this. Okay, so what it does is, we have only one driver, right? But now it will create two separate copies, for one for this particular thread and one for this particular thread. Okay, so now there will be two drivers. Okay, driver copies. Okay, driver 1, let's say, and then this will be driver 2. Okay, so this thread local knows which thread is calling this. Okay, so if first it will check, okay, hey, you are the created thread, now you need your child. Okay, I will give you your child. Okay, I will not give you driver 2, I will give you driver 1. This same way, now the parent who comes, he wants his child, he'll take away his parent, his child only. So this thread local basically has a lot of internal operation. I don't want to go there. But you can imagine it will create separate copies for each of the thread. For your static variable itself, it will create two different copies for each thread. Okay, so it some thread is coming, want to access this particular value, it will check, okay, this guy has the access, and it will also check what is the corresponding value it needs to send, and then it will only send that value. Okay, so this is what this thread local does. I have explained this also in detail in that video, please do watch that. Now let's go here, and now I want to set the value. Now I have thread local, I want to set the value, then only I can get it. So whenever I create this, after I create this, what I am doing, I'm going to set this here. Okay, how can I set this? Okay, first you can also, since this is available in the same class, you can use dr dot set, and then you can directly set the driver whatever you have. Okay, you can do that, but using variable to set it is not a good deal. So we will always prefer a getter and setter methods. So we'll try to create one. So public, let's take getter method, get driver, and then I also have a public void set driver. It will take a driver for namesake. Okay, so if someone wants to set, they will call this. I will pass the reference. If someone wants to get the value, I will tell dr dot get. Okay, they will call this particular get driver method. Will give their particular so return their child. Okay, so now I will assign the value. So to assign the value, we will use set driver method. Okay, this is not static, so we have to keep it as static. So access here, so fine. So set driver, and now I want to, whatever the driver that I come, that is coming from the driver factory, I'm just passing to this guy. Okay, wherever I want to use the driver anymore, I have to call the get driver method and use it. I should not directly access this driver. Okay, so let me shield it from other class so that they don't access this directly. Obviously my test will throw error, we'll fix that. So wherever I want access, I want to access it here. Okay, then use the get driver. I also want to access it from my test here, Amudan. Then, okay, there is a driver class and there is a method called as get driver. You call that to get the value, as simple as that. Okay, now instead of directly accessing the value, we have given them a getter method. Okay, client doesn't know whether it is thread safe, although they don't even have to know about all those things. If you want the driver, call driver dot get driver. Okay, and then call it. Now let's try to check whether it is working before we proceed further. Okay, guys, explaining this in a Selenium code is very easy, but explaining this parallel execution issue in an Appium test is very difficult. I need to connect my devices. Again, I need to create a larger test, then only I can explain it properly. So please watch that video so that you will get a clear understanding. It's just a 20-minute video. So my test got passed. That's also fine, right? My test is passing. So everything is working fine. Even this will work in a multi-threaded environment. But one thing we are doing wrong. What is that? So if you notice, what are the code we have written? This class is doing a lot of stuff now. Okay, it is handling thread local, the initializing driver, quitting the driver, a lot of things, right? So let's move this hard things away, right? So let me go to this driver class. I'll also create one more class. Let's name it as driver manager, and you can give some meaningful name, maybe thread safe manager, thread safe driver manager, whatever. But for me, driver manager is more than enough. I'll create it like this. I don't want someone to extend this. Okay, and I only have static method here, so I don't have to expose my constructor. And what else I want to do? I'll just move this code. Okay, cut this code, go to driver manager, keep it here. Again, I don't want someone to directly call this method, so I'll shield it. Okay, what's the error? Okay, it's a usage error. That's okay. So we can tell driver manager dot set driver. Okay, once you do that, you can also do the static import. Okay, so that your code, you don't have to change any of your code. It will do the static import for you, and then all things remain same. Okay, good. Again, we don't have to create this. It's not needed. Okay, we can just tell WebDriver local. Okay, we are avoiding all those things. Okay, because anyways we are going to call the driver manager dot get driver only, so we don't need that. So we'll also go to the tab test. And guys, you please practice. So now it is telling we cannot find this. Yeah, you cannot find this in driver class anymore. You have to find this from driver manager dot get driver from here on. That's it. You add a static import. You want to add a static import. That's it. You can get driver dot find element by all those stuff. Okay, so that's it, guys. So now we can go to the thread local. We'll also see is there anything that we can improve in this flow. Okay, driver manager, all the errors are gone. Again, previously there was a driver, so I have used a name like driver reference. Now we can change this, and this one maybe thread local driver, something like this, so that it's more meaningful. Okay, that's it, guys. Okay, I also go to the driver class. Okay, I don't want someone to extend this class. Okay, final, all are static methods, no need to expose the constructor. Okay, okay, I have already done that, so let's remove this one of the. Okay, so my code looks much clean now. Okay, driver manager is also fine, thread local is also fine. And one thing is, let's say there is a SonarLint suggestion that will tell me to basically call something called as unload method. Let's take public static void unload. What is that? I'll explain this, don't worry. So there is something called dr dot what is that, thread local driver dot remove. Okay, so this remove method, what it does, it will safely remove all the values from this thread local variable. So whenever you are quitting the driver, okay, let's take an example. Okay, take the same example, child care home, all those stuff. Okay, you are a regular customer for this child care home. You're leaving your child, all those things are happening regularly. So you're setting your child, that is your set method. Okay, if you go to the code, we are using the set method to allocate it to the thread local, and to get it from them we are using get method. Okay, we are using a get method, that is fine. Suppose one day you are deciding we don't need the child care home, your parents are also with you, so they can take care of the kid, so you don't need the child care home. What is the good process? Okay, what you normally do, you have one option, whether you don't have to even inform these guys. Okay, child care home also you don't have to inform, and then you can simply don't go the next day. Okay, you don't go to them, they won't come to you. Okay, that's one way, that's what we are doing. So if you can also set this. Okay, you can pass a null and then you can set this back to null. Okay, that is one way. But what is a good way? Good way is go to the child care home and then tell them, okay, I want to close the contract, we don't need your service anymore, and then we close it properly. And that is the thing that this will do. This will safely remove all the values that are set inside this, and then it will bring it back to the normalcy. Okay, this is needed if you are working in multi-threaded environments. You don't want to see any issues. So that's why we can safely remove this values that is stored in the thread local if you are calling this method. So whenever you're quitting something, okay, you you don't have to directly quit. Maybe you can call this unload method from the driver manager. Okay, unload, if you call this method, then the thread local, whatever the value stored in the thread local will be safely removed, and then you are quitting it. Okay, good. I think we have done for the day. If you have any doubts, please ask me now.
At one place you have used modes dot value of, so that means like modes is an enum, and then we are trying to change a string to enum.
Yes, we are trying
Okay.
to change a string to enum. Previously, before I apply the two uppercase, it threw an error. Okay, it cannot
Yeah.
find a enum of local because this enum is small letter.
Small.
So whatever the enum that we have created is capital letter. Okay,
Yes.
so that's why it threw an error. So what I have done to quickly solve it, I have just used a trick to two uppercase and then I solved it. Okay,
Yes.
so this will basically convert, the value of method is used to convert a string to an enum. Okay, if it has a corresponding string, they'll convert to it. Okay.
Amodhan?
Hmm.
Yeah, in this init driver method, there is a web driver is equal to driver, right?
Yeah.
So it was before, it was static, right? But once we are like change a variable to local, we change it to like normal variable. But before it was static, right?
Yeah, it was static. See, you can also have this as a static. Okay, let's take you keep it here. Okay, I'm keeping private static web driver. Okay, now I keep it like this. Okay, so it's just a minute. I think I don't see any problem, but it's showing some error. Driver dot in a driver. Okay, that's correct. What is the problem? I don't know what. There is no problem here. I don't know why my ID is suggesting there is a problem. Okay, I don't know. I don't know. Let's keep this
private. Yeah.
No, we are not accessing this from anywhere. Okay, it's just a piece of code that is sitting here. Okay, if it is a class level static variable, okay, we are not using this anywhere. Hereafter, when we are using, we are directly calling driver manager dot get driver. Correct. So the only reason we are having this is previously was to share this between here this method and this method. Okay, correct.
Yeah.
Now this is not required anymore. We are going to call if you want the driver reference, we are going to call driver manager dot get driver. Correct.
Yeah.
So instead of keeping it as a class level variable, okay, if I keep it as a class level variable, there is a space that is occupied in the heap, so I can convert that into a local variable. Okay, so if it is a local variable, then okay, this is by default thread safe, and then I don't know why this is throwing error all the time.
That happens sometimes. IntelliJ idea.
Okay,
Error.
okay, but there is no error here. Okay, let's see. Your local, keeping a local variable. Local variables are thread safe. Okay, first one. Second one, local variables
I
will be
got
removed.
it.
Yeah, this will be
Yeah,
local
I
variables will
got
be
it.
stored in the thread stack itself. So that particular method completes, then this variables will be removed. Okay, so you are actually doing some memory management. That's it.
Yeah, got it. Because we are using locally, so there is no point of making it static. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, again, you don't need to even give this declaration. Okay, you can directly tell driver factory this whole stuff. Okay, here. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is not readable. That's why we preferred the old way. Let's create some local variable and then do it. Okay, creating a local variable is no harm. Okay, if it increases the readability, please do that. If it's adding one more line, that's okay, but readability is very important. Okay, so even
Yeah.
I have created this mode value, all these things I could have directly given here, right? But again, that spoils my readability. Okay, so if it is if it's spoiling your readability, make it into different lines, because that's all within the method. It won't make any memory management issue. It will create 3 local variables in the thread stack when it is working, After the method call is over, then it will all will be removed automatically. So the memory management will take care of that. So it's not a big deal. Okay. So creating a new temporary local variable is no harm. Okay. So you can always create that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other doubts? Okay, good. I think we're done for the day. Maybe I'll restart my IntelliJ IDE, but yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. You guys please practice, and then can we have the class tomorrow?